After making its return in WWE 2K23, MyGM needed a bit of a makeover as there was a lot of things missing from the game mode that really should have been in there from the start. So we have two questions to answer. Have 2K implemented these changes in 2K23, and has the game mode actually improved? We'll start off with the negatives, as it's best to get these out of the way early doors. Despite adding new match types and stipulations, we're still unable to put on 6-man or 8-man matches, which is a little disappointing. Things like 3-man tag matches are pretty popular right now, so it would be cool to be able to put on matches like this. It would also allow us to build our own stables like Imperium or the New Day, which would give the game a lot more personality and would make me a lot more invested in the storylines that I was booking. As for 8-man matches, these could be battle royales, 4-man tag matches, or 4-way tag matches. There are loads of ways this could work. Then that would allow us to put on some pretty killer matches at War Games, which would be a really cool thing to be able to do in MyGM mode. Speaking of War Games being absent, there's still a lot of match types missing that would be great additions to MyGM. Having a Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber Premium Live event would shift the dynamic completely and make it both more challenging and more immersive. Elimination Chambers could even be made up of 3 level 4 rivalries that all come to a head at once, making for a great chamber match. I know they'd have to alter the budgeting and roster size to accommodate for this, but it's something that I think would be incredibly fun. One thing that's quite disappointing to see is that you still can't do tag team call-out promos. This feature works really well for singles rivalries when you need to rest your stars, so being able to progress your tag rivalries with them should really be an option. It's annoying that you have to constantly put them in matches to build up their rivalry, as they need to regain stamina as well, and there aren't many ways to do that. This one is a really easy addition as it's just another promo option, so hopefully this is added in a future update. When I saw the options of putting on a triple threat and fatal 4-way match, I was pleasantly surprised as it adds a whole nother dynamic to the game mode. However, I wasn't too impressed when I realised you couldn't have a triple threat or fatal 4-way match for a title. It makes zero sense that you can't do this, as surely it's the same as having a regular title match, with the winner just taking the gold. I struggle to see what's stopping this from being possible, and in all honesty, it really bugs me. I just want to remake the Orton vs Angle vs Mysterio match from WrestleMania 22. Why won't you let me dream, 2K? When looking at what 2K has improved in the game mode, there's a lot to talk about. And what better addition to start with than the ability to play as many seasons of the mode as you wish. This is something that we were begging for in 2K22 as the mode just seemed so shallow and short. But now this issue is no more, and honestly the way they've done it is great. After a season is finished, there will be a redraft for all brands, where your budget is reset and you'll need to pick your roster all over again. However, you can save up to 6 superstars for the next season, depending on where you finished in the rankings. You still have to pay for the wrestlers, but it's kind of like calling dibs on them. The other brands will not be able to sign them. This gives a small advantage to the brands performing worse, so makes it a bit more of a challenge and makes the redrafts a lot more interesting. The addition of Hall of Fame trophies also gives the game a lot more depth. Not only are you fighting to gain the most fans out of all the brands, but you're looking to get the most trophies as well, as these play a part in who is on top of the leaderboard. You can get these trophies by either completing 5 small seasonal challenges, like putting on 10 tag team matches, or by achieving lifetime milestone goals, like hitting a certain amount of revenue. The trophies give you a lot more to think about than simply booking a great show, and often provide more of a challenge to the mode, as you have to adapt to accommodate for some of the requirements. A huge problem that MyGM had in 2K22 was the lack of match type options and stipulations, and this has been largely fixed in 2K23. Now you have the option of triple threat matches and fatal 4-way matches, which does make for a wider variety of matches in your shows. They're not the most useful in terms of starting or maintaining rivalries, but it's cool to have them nonetheless, and gives you options for new matches if you have stars that aren't currently in rivalries. The match stipulations have also received a big makeover, with there now being way more options to choose from. Not only that, but some of the new stipulations like steel cage matches and submission matches come with some added conditions to them, like there being an increased chance of a rivalry progressing or it completing a rivalry on any show immediately. All of these new features make the game a lot more fun to play, as you have options, which is something that made 2K22 so limiting. Having the extra mid-card belt helps a lot with show quality and booking in general, as now your mid-card feuds actually have some meaning to them. It also means that you can put on premium live events with a title on the line in every single match, so that's pretty cool. This, like a lot of these improvements, should have been in 2K22, but regardless, I'm happy to have them now. A pretty big new feature brought in for 2K23 was the shake-up cards, which you can choose to turn on or off at the start. After every Premium Live event, you have the option of choosing between 3 random cards that all give you a pretty big boost. Whether it's to stamina, popularity, or something financial, these can help you out massively and again add another layer of depth to the mode that was missing before. The emails you get during the seasons are usually pretty boring and more annoying than anything else. However, what they've done this year is throw in randomly occurring events that actually provide a massive benefit to you if they happen. For example, at any time, Triple H can inform you that one of your stars has been asked to shoot a movie and will be missing for 4 weeks if you allow it. On the plus side, if you say yes, you get $1 million added to your budget, so it's definitely worth it. Little things like this just make the game more fun. It should be a game of decision making, and having these events to consider adds a lot to the overall enjoyment of the mode. As well as having a lot more to do in MyGM, you can now also play against up to 3 extra people, which changes the experience quite a lot. Not only does it allow you to play with more friends, but it also makes you have to think a lot harder about things like the draft, as now there are 2 other people that could potentially steal your pick. Along with this, you also have more power cards to worry about, as anyone could hit you with anything at any moment. And you now have a choice of who you want to use yours on, so it becomes a lot more strategic. 2K have accommodated the extra GM slots nicely by giving us a much wider range of brands and GMs to choose from, with most of them having new and interesting power cards for you to use. Adding all of these new features and variety to the game mode has definitely improved it from 2K22, and honestly, it's extremely fun to play. There are still things to be added that I believe would take it up to another level, but for what it is, this game mode is now both a ton of fun and replayable. So if you're wondering whether or not to play it, you should definitely give it a chance. If you do end up playing and can't seem to find success when booking your shows, it's probably because you don't know exactly what the game is looking for. But don't worry, if you want to know how to put on perfect shows every single week, you can watch the video on screen now.